All right, welcome everybody to our Kollel at Home series. And Bezat Hashem, first and foremost, I want to thank the amazing Agozi family for this unbelievable hosting and having us in your home. God bless you and your home and your children. Bezat Hashem, I want to dedicate this class. Today we have actually a double class. We have a double header. Professor Leah Cohen, she will speak about an amazing author in Israel that passed away, a Nobel Peace Prize. That's all I will say. She'll do the rest. She is one of our gems and jewels in the women study group. So all of you make an amazing, beautiful keter, as we say. So to all the women that always study Torah, thank you and God bless you. And I want to say again, the class is also dedicated to the Darwish family for Charles and Debora on their upcoming marriage, Be'ezat Hashem. I want to wish them a good Hatzlacha to all of you, Hatzlacha to the Agozi family. I want to also dedicate this class to the Ilui Nishmat, to the memory of Gal's father, Yoel Agozi ben Harav Yosef Guzi. God bless and rest his soul in Gan Eden, Be'ezat Hashem. Also to Charles' grandfather, Salah ben Simcha, Zichron Tzadik Livracha. And again, we want to say a refuah shelema to Flori bat Rachel, Miriam bat Zohara, Anat bat Aziza, Revital bat Rachel, Noah Delahat ben Betty, Asaf ben Rachel, Baruch Chai ben Chaya Miriam, Zehavit Batova, וכל החיילים הפצועים and all the wounded soldiers that need refuah and everybody else that need refuah. Also, Michael ben Eren, Mital bat Gila, anybody that needs refuah, and all the sick people, God, and Narafan Laim, and Narafan Laim, and Narafan Laim. Also, we want to dedicate this to your Abraham ben Yitzchak, Zichron Tzadik Livracha, Be'ezat Hashem. So again, before we start, we're going to say thank you a little bit about Professor Leah Cohen. She will tell you about herself, but an amazing, amazing person that actually did a lot from teaching adults and children. She's a professor. She's an author. She's published 4 books. She teaches university. She manages school as a principal. I would just say that and leave the rest to the imagination and your questions. Okay, so please, Be'ezat Hashem, welcome her. Very good.
The one and only.
First of all, I'm honored to be here. I am excited to talk about an amazing person, kind of a mentor for me. And the way this evening came to be is completely by coincidence. I was at the Rabbi's Kollel with 2 other women. I think you were there. And his name of this Shai Agnon came up, and me and Rabbi just looked at each other and we said, yes. And we start saying things about him. And then it was Rabbi's idea. And I was accepting it right away. It is really my honor to be with all of you and explore a person that we can all learn a lot from. And this person, we can have a whole course. And he's very mysterious. I grew up on him from childhood. I grew up religious, and I was very versed in Lashon HaKodesh, which is the ancient Hebrew from the Torah, from the Midrashim, from Chazal, from the Mishnah, from the Talmud, and all the sacred Jewish texts. It's in my blood. And this person writes in this language. This is the language that he grew up with. He did not know contemporary Hebrew for many, many years until he moved to Israel. I'll tell you a little bit about him. But it was, for me, it was like music to my ears. It's like I'm reading poetry. And every sentence, every phrase, every idiom that he writes is associated with something in the past, either a wisdom of the rabbis or a story of the binding of Isaac or anything. And it makes his writing so much more deep and it brings the reader to connect what they're reading with our history and wisdom. It's 50 years since he got his Nobel Prize in 1966. And most of you probably never heard of him before. I know you did. You did not. And I forgot your name? Shachar is an Israeli. He grew up in Israel and he reads Hebrew. And most of the Israelis today cannot read his books. The same way they cannot read correctly a chapter in the Bible. Give them a psalm, a chapter from Tehillim, they're lost, sadly. So he is not known. He's pretty much esoteric, and only the people who knows the tradition and grew up on him can enjoy his richness and depth and insights in life. And I should start a little bit about his life, but I just want to emphasize how different his language is. His phrases and concepts are 3,000 years old. It is his identity and our ancient identity. And today, as I said, sadly, the new generation is torn apart from the roots. They use a lot of slang, and you can imagine that his writing were taken out years ago already from the school curriculum. Completely. It's not being read. They put modern and much more shallower writing and language. People cannot read that anymore. So today we'll have a chance to explore about him and about his writing in more depth. And I promise you, not just that you'll enjoy it, but you'll see how his whole soul and character is expressed in his writing.
Respectfully, I may be putting the cart before the horse when I ask this question: what language was he speaking that is no longer spoken?
Okay, you mean the language that he wrote with?
Yes.
Okay. It is not the Hebrew that I and Rabbi speak, or I speak with Joseph or with Gal. No. Lashon HaKodesh in translation means the holy language. Kodesh is holy, like Aron Kodesh. Lashon is language. So it's the holy language, meaning for 2,000 years when we were exiled, nobody spoke Hebrew. People talk Moroccan and Yiddish and Ladino and French and Yemenite. Nobody talks Hebrew. So if you go to the market, you talked Russian. It was lost. However, there is one place that they didn't lose it. In the yeshivas, in the learning places where they learn text and Talmud, in the synagogue, when they came to pray, they used the Siddur, the prayer book, which is in Hebrew. So this stays Lashon HaKodesh, meaning it's a language used for holy learning or sacred texts or scriptures. And my father grew up in Poland, in a little shtetl, and they were very strict religious in his family. And he went to yeshiva from age 3. Wow. When he came to Israel, all he knew is Lashon Kodesh. All he knew, he didn't know Hebrew. So it's up to the new immigration, and then they revived. This is another class at all, how the language is revived, and today you use it like in English. So that's what it means, Lashon Kodesh. So Shai Agnon was born in 1888 in what is today Ukraine, also to some kind of very religious family. And he also went to yeshiva, not yeshiva, little cheder, it's for children to learn the Aleph-Bet and to read the Torah from age 3. And this was in 1988 when he was born. And if you know a little bit of history about Zionism, this is when the big pogroms in Russia happened. And at age 30, in 1908, he left to escape from the pogroms. He left and moved to, I should say, not Israel, but I should say Palestine. Because then the land of Israel was occupied by the Ottoman Muslim Empire, the Sultan. He moved there because, not just him, many Jews. And so he was 4 years in Israel, and then in 1912, he moved to Germany. And in Germany, he stayed for another 4 years. And in Germany, he was exposed to all the intellectuals of the Enlightenment, of science and literature. He was a friend of Martin Buber and Franz Rosenzweig and philosophers and all the intellectual society. And he absorbed all this into him. And in Germany, he started to seriously write. His first writing was at age 5. He wrote a little poem because his father went for a long period of time, and he wrote a poem because he was missing his father. And this little poem that he wrote in Lashon HaKodesh, he actually talks about it when he got his Nobel Prize in his speech in front of all the dignitaries and the Queen of Sweden, but we'll get to that. Anyway, so at that time, from those pogroms, not just he escaped to Israel. Many young people left the yeshivas, they cut their peot, their pious, their peot, took off the tzitziot, moved to Israel and became farmers, and they built the road and they dried the swamps and they built the first kibbutzim. A lot of them were from Russia, and they were communists in their state of mind. And the girls, they wore pants and they mixed with the boys. They were doing the same jobs. This was never heard before. Never. They all come from those shtetls and Hasidic communities, and it's something new. The Zionist movement took off. So those thousands of young people, boys and girls in their 20s, and most of them in their 20s, part of the process was changing the names. So it's no more Moskowitz, but it became Almagor, or not more, I don't know, all these, Goldberg became Maor or Zahavi. So all the people changed their names. They took off even their identity as from the diaspora, and they put new Israeli, Sabra identity. For example, David Gruen became David Ben Gurion. He changed his name. Golda Meirson became Golda Meir. They all did it. Not all, most of them did it. It's part of the process of shedding their old identity and becoming a new person, ready to build up a new country, modern, secular, no more yeshiva, no more shtetl, גמרנו. So, go back to that man, and he's in that, trend in history. He was born in a completely different place in Eastern Europe, in a small shtetl. And he was not shy, and he was not Agnon. His name was Shmuel Yosef Halevi Bochkes. Bochkes was the name of his town. And people did that. For example, Rabbi Brisky, his family is from Brisk. So people took the name of the town and become, Jews don't have last names. In the Bible, in the Torah, we don't have last names. Mendelssohn and whatever, it's not Jewish because they were forced by the authorities that they can identify. So what did they do? They adopted a name. Someone who was doing suits and doing fixing was a tailor. So they became tailor. Schneider or Mendelssohn. If it's what is Mendelssohn? Son is a son, Mendel is Mendel, the son of Mendel. So if there was a Yosel, the son of Mendel, this is how they knew him in the Jewish community. So they had Shmuel Yosef Halevi Bochkes. Now he's in Israel. And he's writing his first story, big story. The name of the story is Agunot. On that story, it's a book, not too thick. On that story, he did not sign his name. He signed not Bochkes, Agnon. He took the title of that story and he adopted it and made it into Agnon. Why? What is the meaning of Agnon? Agnon comes, or Agunot, the book Agunot, comes from the word Aguna. Aguna is a legal Jewish term that defines a woman who is married and she wants to divorce her husband, but her husband refused to give her a get, refused divorcing her. She is an Aguna. She is still married, but she has no husband. They're separated, but she cannot remarry and have a new life. So Aguna is someone who is tied to the marriage.
Okay.
And there is another Aguna, which is more common. Women whose husbands disappear, were not found, left them for 5 years and they don't know if they're alive or dead, they are still married. If the husband is not confirmed as being dead, she is married. She also stuck. She cannot remarry by the Jewish halacha. And exactly, Yosef mentioned that it comes from the word ogen. Ogen means an anchor. She is stuck. She is tied to the marriage and she can't have a new life. In fact, in this war that we're having now in Israel and in the massacre on October 7, there are still bodies that were not identified and people that we don't know if they're hostages, dead. We have no idea. And there are women today, young women, married to soldiers or people in those kibbutzim that you can identify which body is which. They are agunot. They cannot get married. And it happens after Milchemet Yom Kippur, after the Yom Kippur War. Every war we have that issue. צוללת דקר, If you know,
Right.
30
Submarine.
Navy soldiers were drowned. But we don't have their bodies, right? So these women were agunot. Now, today, the Rabbanut, the Rabbinical Assembly in Israel, the Rabbanut Rashit, are working with the chief rabbis to release them and do some stuff. But the thing that you need to remember, that the story that Agnon wrote is about a failed marriage. A failed marriage. The name of the husband is Yechezkel. Just as an anecdote. So on that story, it took the name Agnon. And Shai is abbreviation of Shmuel Yosef. So it became Shai Agnon. Now, he talks about failed marriage. It is in this iconic first story that he wrote when he came to Israel. He described a match which is actually a mismatch. It doesn't work. The marriage doesn't work. There are two different things they don't bind. What is he really talking about? So imagine this person that he learned in the scriptures and the halacha, and he's a deep believer, very mystical. He liked Kabbalah and he liked Masiyot Hasidim, Hasidic stories and Midrashim, and he's like a spring, one to write. He has a lot to say in this aspect. But is in completely secular, modern environment. He also wants to build this land. But this land is not his world. These people are secular. He cannot mix with them. It's the marriage between the old world of the people who come from Europe, not those people that brought the kibbutzim, but all the immigrants that came after the Holocaust, before the Holocaust, yeshiva bachur, dati'im, religious people, that they want to immerse in the life of the Torah. But they come to this country. Nobody keeps Shabbat. Where do you find kosher food? What to do? What kind of marriage is that? So all this, if you have a chance, if you read it in that story, it's so vibrant. It's as if you lived that in that time. And since I'm talking today, and we live in the galut, in the diaspora, where are we? I'm just asking. I was just thinking as I was writing my notes. We are also torn. We love Israel. We keep the news, like we're hooked to the news, including me on the channels. Every missiles, I get the alert on the app, like my brother in Rishon LeZion gets it on the same time. So, but our body is here with all the anti-Semitism and everything. What kind of marriage is this? Who is our identity? So you see that it's in his writing and in his books, each person can find himself. And it's not just this story. I mean, this is just a sample because I wanted to explain his name. We look in another short story more deeply and which is much more fascinating. But you see how deep is this person and how every word is meaningful. I think at this point, what I want to do, he got married in Germany to an aristocratic woman named Esther, but he never called her Esther, he called her Estherline, my love, Estherline Yekirati, in all his letters. And this is another story for another lecture, but I'm going to try, I hooked to the internet, yes, it's working, and I'm going to show you so you can know this man more closely before we get into his writings. So this is how he looks. And the first thing that you can see about him, Nobel Prize or not Nobel Prize, how humble he is. Look, Rabbi. Just a simple Jew, comes out from Ukraine, sit in his little apartment and writes and enriched so many souls. This is his house was in Shchonat Talpiyot, in Talpiyot neighborhood in Yerushalayim, and today, after his death, he died in 1970. After his death, they made it into like a little museum, Bet Agnon. They host lectures there, research, people who learn his writing in literature research come there. So this is the remake of his little room. Simple, and I want to tell you that the real one was not that meticulous. There's tons of books and manuscripts, but very simple, very modest. This is him and his wife, his lovely wife.
Oh, wow.
Look how he's dressed with a mikbat. I don't know how to say it. It's not a hat, it's a mikbat and a tie, like they used to dress in the 60s. And now,
He's on our money. He was on the money.
after we moved to the new shekels, shkalim chadashim, from the regular shekels, he was put on a 50 shekel bill. But I don't just bring it to you to brag about him, even though he deserves. But you see, here you have 3 of his books closed, and 1 book is open. And here I can show you, but over here on top, there is his signature. And I'll show you something else in his handwriting, but this is what they put on the 50 shekels, like $50, 50 shekels. But what's interesting, I want to show you the other side of the currency, right?
Stop.
The
No
currency.
currency. Yeah.
And this is the other side of it. So what do we see here? On the bottom, we see a depiction of his shtetl. See how this is the shtetl. It's like if you see Tevya, what do you call Tevya? Fiddler on the Roof.
Yeah.
This is
The small
Anatevka.
village.
Anatevka, right there. Every shtetl look like this, little village in Europe. And here, what do you see? Yerushalayim, Jerusalem. So you see his 2 worlds, his old world and the new world in Yerushalayim at the horizon. So it's very well thought of how they made the shekel, the shekalim, the currency. It's beautiful and it's purple. And here he is when he's a little younger, but it's just chashuv. And this is what I want to show you. This is his writing. Now, I have to say a few things about it. You see dark ink, like with a pen, and then light with pencil, you see his correction. You see all these corrections. However, from those of you who know Hebrew or Hebrew writing, you still cannot read that. His handwriting cannot be deciphered. You can't read it. It's so like a code. The only person who could read it, there are actually 2 people. His wife And she's the one who took every page, and every page she was the first one to read it. And she is the one who typed it on a typewriter because nobody can publish it, nobody can read it.
So then,
After she died,
did he actually write in code?
no, it just you can
Right.
decipher the hand, awful handwriting, not awful.
Oh, because it's
It was
not
like a
that-
doctor giving prescription.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Good example.
Yeah.
And the other
That's why they have a
person-
lot of problems. Everybody get the wrong medicine.
The other example, the other person who could read his handwriting is his daughter. After his wife's death, she kept on the mission. And after he died, she kept on all the things that were not published yet and proofed them and typed them. This was his handwriting. And by the way, he had 2 children. The daughter, her name is Emunah.
Faith.
Truth, faith. And the son was Mordechai, but nobody called him Mordechai. His name became Chendat. Chendat, after a character in his story. Question up to now.
Somebody that you like a lot.
Yes, did he, the books that were published after his death were done from manuscripts that he left behind? Is that
Correct.
correct? Did he want those published?
Oh yes, you want everything to be. You just want to tell his stories. Yes, for sure. It's not like Kafka who want to burn them and
Right.
they didn't listen to him and were lucky to have his writings. What I want to do now is something that I didn't do for a long time. So what we'll do is I'll let you spread this around.
Just so you know, there'll be a test after, so better read.
Yeah, you better pay attention.
Trying to raise my
I'm too drunk for that.
You can 2 share it together.
Yosef and Natalie.
Can you share?
Yeah.
No, we got one for you.
Thank you.
You have one for me? Oh,
Oh,
Leslie, you
here's
have one for me?
actually. Here, do you need more? We have
One more for him.
Polly,
There's some more here. In the back there. Give in the back there.
you guys need more?
Yeah, with men. They don't have any. Well, you know it's so fast, but okay.
No, it's okay. Just give it back.
By the way, in 1966 he got his Nobel Prize, but you should know that he is the only Hebrew writer that ever got a Nobel Prize. Ever.
Oh, wow.
No one else.
This is
He's
true.
the only one. He died in 1970 at age 89, no, 81 or 80 or something like that. I don't have much time, so we'll go swiftly, but I'm not going to not do that because this is how you will see the beauty. Maybe we should skip it for another time, Rabbi.
No, good.
We have time.
Good, it's good.
We
We
have
have time.
Everybody
Maybe we
have
can
time.
do another lunch, another dinner there.
We enjoy it.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a lot of food, very good.
I just don't want.
He was 82. Ben 20 this time.
Because you got sleeping bags here.
Yeah, crash on the couch there.
Plenty of room. We're good.
John has a question, you guys.
Was he influenced by Rabbi Nachman?
He was not a Bratslav, but he knew
His
everything
story.
about it. Yes, of course. Who wasn't? Yes,
Was his father a rabbi?
I have no idea,
Yes.
but I don't
Yes,
know.
his father was a
Probably
rabbi, yeah.
who? Yeah.
Yes.
Very,
He was a rabbi.
very religious.
Yes.
Anyway, this story, Maaseh Ha'ez, fable of a goat. Okay, I'm going to start reading I meant to do something else, but I'll just say some stuff as we read. And at the end, we'll end up. The tale is told of an old man who groaned from his heart. What does it mean to groan from his heart? It's not
I'm so sorry.
It's okay.
It's not his kidney or his hip. What is groaning from the heart?
Complain.
I mean, Israel is hard for me.
His heart is hurting.
Pain from the heart.
In the heart. It's not physical. The doctors were sent for and they advised him to drink a goat's milk. He went out and bought a she-goat. Okay, I'll wait a second. I can...
Okay. Bye.
False evidence.
He went out and bought
Sorry,
a she.
everybody.
So good.
I'm starting again. The tale is told of an old man who groaned from his heart. The doctors were sent for and they advised him to drink goat's milk. He went out and bought a she-goat and brought her into his home. Not many days passed before the goat disappeared. They went out to search for her, but did not find her. She was not in the yard, and not in the garden, not on the roof of the yeshiva, and not by the spring, not in the hills, and not in the fields. She tarried several days, and then returned by herself. And when she returned, her udder was full of great deal of milk, whose taste was as taste of Garden of Eden. Not just once, but many times she disappeared from the house. They would go out to search for her and would not find her until she returned by herself with her udder full of milk that was sweeter than honey and whose taste was the taste of paradise. So what was the cure for a hurting heart, for a longing soul? What? We just read it. Goat milk. Goat milk. The doctor said goat milk. And he bought a goat. But it's not a regular goat. It's a magical goat. She disappeared and she brings this magical milk, taste as honey from paradise. Do you remember a place that is leaking or dripping with honey and milk? Okay.
My friend Joseph Rubin, he disappeared and he come with his trees with the pigs, so sweet, and then he come back.
It looks like Moshe Rabbeinu.
Okay, let's continue.
So this is the cure for his heart. One time, the old man said to his son, "My son, I desire to know where she goes and when she brings this milk which is sweet to my palate and balm to all my bones. Where does she disappear every day? Where is she bringing this magic cure?" His son said to him, "Father, I have a plan." He said to him, "What is it?" The son got up and brought a length of cord. And as you see, I marked with a line everywhere that word cord appear in the story with a purpose. So he brought a piece of cord and he tied it to the goat tail. His father said to him, "What are you doing, my son?" He said to him, "I'm tying a cord to the goat tail so that when I feel a pull on it, I will know that she had decided to leave," right? When she leaves, you feel that she's pulling the cord. And I can catch the end of the cord and follow her on her way. And then I'll see where she's going to. The old man nodded his head and said to him, "My son, if your heart is wise, my heart too will rejoice." Okay. there is a plan. They have a plan to find this mysterious secret. Where is the cure of the suffering soul? Let's see what happened. The youth tied a cord to the goat's tail and minded it carefully. When the goat set off, he held the cord in his hand and didn't let it stake in until the goat was well on her way and he was following her. He was dragged along behind her until he came to a cave. The goat went into a cave and the youth followed her, holding the cord. They walked thus for an hour or two, or maybe even a day or two. The goat wagged her tail and bleated, and the cave came to an end. So they're going for hours through a cave, through a tunnel. When they emerged from the cave, the youth saw, pay attention to this description. What did he see at the end of the tunnel, of the cave? Lofty mountains and hills full of the choicest food, and a fountain of living waters that flows down from the mountains, and the wind wafted all manners of perfume. A true paradise. The goat climbed up a tree by clutching at the leaves. Carob fruit, charuvim, full of honey dropped from the tree, and she ate of the carob and drank of the garden fountain. So what is the source of her magical milk? It's obvious. I'm not going to go into it. There is so much to say. But they are in a place which flowing with fragrances and beauty and mountains and trees and groves. And this is the source of the cure of the heart, of the longing soul, of the lost people. But the son doesn't know where he is. He stood and called to the passing by, to the wayfarers. I adjourn you, good people. Tell me where I am, and what is the name of this place? They answered him, you're in the land of Israel, and you're close to Tzfat. I'm going to ask you, why Tzfat and not Yerushalayim? It's so intuitive to choose Yerushalayim, Ir HaKodesh. Why Agnon, Shai Agnon, choose Tzfat? What is Tzfat known for?
Art.
A lot of
Art.
My birthplace.
True,
Right.
but you weren't born
Oh,
yet.
that is the Kabbalah
Spirituality is
center.
Kabbalah.
Right. Yerushalayim is the place of ma'asim, of practice. The temple, the korbanot, the palace of the king, the capital of the town, the ministry, the capital of the town, the capital of Judah, and Yerushalayim, the capital of Israel. Tzfat is not the place of doing, is the spiritual place, the place for ruchaniyot. All the Mekubalim are there. Ari Akadosh and Moshe Cordovero and Rabbi Yosef Karo and Shlomo El-Kabetz who wrote the Lecha Dodi. All these Mekubalim, they were not in Yerushalayim. They were in Tzfat. Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai. All of these people are full of ruchaniyut, of spirit. Even the Bratslav Hasidic Center is in Tzfat.
Wow.
And so this is where the cure is. This is where the the goat find the cure for the lost soul in the galut, in the diaspora.
She has a question.
Also,
Yes.
well, the carob tree is very important also.
Yeah.
But they were eating carob because when Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai was in the
Cave, in the
Right.
cave.
the carob tree.
Yes.
Right.
Also, my father is buried, and there's a carrot next to
Okay.
it. In Israel, yes.
What else?
That's
What
all
else?
לידו.
What else is reminding you of carob tree or carob חרובים? Who else was fed by חרובים?
שמות בר יוחאי.
כן,
We already
that's what
said
she
that.
said.
And his son Eliezer. Yeah.
Eliezer.
Maccabees.
Eliyahu Hanavi,
Eliyahu
when
Hanavi,
he
Elijah.
escaped from his enemy
Isabel.
Achab.
Yeah, Isabel
Yeah.
and Achav.
Oh, God.
He,
Not you.
all right. So the son discovers where he is, right? And he said, until the day, what is it? Until the day breathe and the shadow flees away, I shall sit on the hill under the tree, this tree. Then I'll go home and bring my father and mother to the land of Israel. Is he rushing to bring them? No. I'll sit here and enjoy and indulge. And when I get enough, I'll go and get my father and mother here. As he was sitting thus and feasting his eyes on the holiness of the land, and he, absorbed all the spirituality you'll see in a minute, he heard a voice proclaiming, "Come, let us go out and greet the Sabbath queen." This is the announcement that the sun is coming down and Shabbat queen is coming. So now, can he go back? He cannot. It's Shabbat. So now, he cannot go back. So, and he looks around and look at this description of Tzfat. And, okay, so, and he looked around and he saw men like angels, wrapped in white shawl and the talitot, with a bunch of myrtle, hadassim, which is the Mekubalim, the Faradim Mekubalim use it to smell for the hadassim fragrance to usher the Shabbat, with both of myrtle in their hands. And all the houses were lit with great many candles. So he looked there, and this is what he sees around. You can close your eyes and imagine this angelic, divine scenery and how spiritual it is. He perceived that the eve of the Sabbath would arrive with a darkening and that he would not be able to return. He uprooted a reed and dipped it in gallnut, from which the ink for the writing of the Torah scroll is made, and took a piece of paper and wrote a letter to his father. From the end of the earth, I lift my voice in song to tell you that I have come in peace to the land of Israel. Here I sit, close to Tzfat, the holy city, and I invite its sanctity. Do not inquire how I arrived here, but hold on to the cord, here's the cord again, which is tied to the goat tail, and follow the footsteps of the goat. Then your journey will be secure and you will enter the land of Israel. So he wrote this letter to his father. Now let's look at it. Rabbi, let me more than 15 minutes.
5 more.
5.
בתי המעלה, first.
You have to negotiate. We're Jews.
Maybe we have a rebellion. First of all, you need
as long as you want.
Yes,
Like, we're
there's
not.
no rush.
We're not. in a
All right,
hurry.
7 minutes.
you pay attention to the language of the letter. Do not inquire how I arrived here. You see the goat. Don't ask too many questions. Take the cord and follow her. And remember that he put that. Don't ask questions. Don't hesitate. Follow it immediately. And now let's talk about that cord. it will appear more times. Why does Agnon excessively use that word, even if it's not necessary? It's a key word.
Connection.
Now, we read it in translation. In Hebrew, today, chord is hevel. Not in Lashon Chazal, not in the
Holy
Lashon
Language.
HaKodesh. In Lashon HaKodesh, in his original, which I learned in Hebrew, not in translation, the word that he used is from the Mishnah, which is Meshicha. Meshicha. It used I have an example, but I don't have time, will not go into it. So he put Meshicha, Meshicha, Hevel, Meshicha. What does it remind you? Don't say, Rabbi. Mashiach. The word, he used this word to associate it with Mashiach. Hevel, Hevlei Mashiach. So,
The
what
Messiah.
Right, Messiah, Mashiach. So what does he tell his father to do? Follow the Mashiach. The Mashiach comes to you. Don't ask questions. Follow him. Don't hesitate. He's here. He's right there. So this is what he, like, if you, in Hebrew, when you delve into between the lines, this is the depth of the letter. It's not just the letter, come, the goat will take you. It's much more deep than that. Let's see what happened. The youth rolled up the note, so the son took the paper, folded it or rolled it up, and placed it in a safe place in the goat ear, so the goat won't shrug it. And he said to himself, when she arrived at my father's house, my father will pet her on her head, and she will flicker her ears. The note will fall out. Father will pick it up and read what is written on it. Then he will take up the cord. Here's the cord again. Of course, he'll follow the goat to the land of Israel. Beautiful plan. Beautiful. So what is it? Is it a physical journey? Of course not. It's not a real cave. It's nothing like walk after a goat. This is all a metaphor, a fable. You know, in Kabbalah, I'm sure Rabbi knows, maybe other of you, we have a term, Gilgul Mechilot. Right, Rabbi? Gilgul Mechilot. Mechila is a tunnel, a cave. I won't go into it again. I'm limited, but it's a beautiful idea. It's a spiritual journey. It's not like walking, going on El Al airplane and go to Israel. To go to a place like Tzfat, it's elevate yourself spiritually, to become, to be there in your soul. It's not your body, it's not your limb. Everybody can go to Tel Aviv, but this is not what they're talking about here. Remember which world Agnon is coming from, and where he lives, and where is his soul. But let's go on with the story. So the goat returned to the old man, but she did not flick her ears, and the note did not fall. When the old man saw the goat had returned without his son, he clapped his hand to his head and began to cry and weep and wail. My son, where are you? My son, would that I might die in your stead. My son. People who grew up like Rabbi and like me, religious, know where this is coming from. My son. Absalom, beautiful. When David lost his son Absalom and was someone told him that his son died, he said, Bni Avshalom, mi iten muti tachtecha ayom. I wish I would die instead of you. So when Agnon put this word in the father's mouth, me, the reader, and all of the people who read that know Lashon HaKodesh, associate with this dramatic tragedy from our history. It's happening again. Okay, so he went, the father, weeping and mourning over his son, for he said, an evil beast had devoured him. My son is assuredly rest in pieces, not rest in peace, in pieces. איפה כתוב? all evil beasts that טרוף, חיה רעה, אכלתו, טרוף. So he taking us back to Yaakov, that the brothers bring the bloody garment, coat, to show him. And he said, this is exactly what he said. An evil beast has devoured him. So you see how the genius tool, literary tool, Agnon uses to take us to the depths of the tragedy. And he refused to be comforted. וימאן להתנחם. I will go down to my grave in mourning for my son. כי ירד אל בני אבל שאולה. It's all לשון הקודש. So beautiful in Hebrew. So what was happening? The note didn't fall, right? There is a dark matter here. What is the father not realizing? He's not seeing what he needs to see. He doesn't think of looking for a note. And whenever he saw the goat, he would say, who to the father who banished his son, and who to her who drove him from the world? Who is he cursing? He cursing himself. I wanted to know where the cure to my heart. I sent my son away, and I made him probably be dead today. I am cursed. He was missing the signs. He didn't see the note. He wasn't looking for a note.
The goat didn't shake his head.
What?
The goat didn't shake his head for the note to fall from the ear.
The old man's mind would not be at peace until he sent for the butcher to slaughter the goat. He could not see the goat without his son. The butcher came and slaughtered the goat. That's it. The chance is gone. If there is no goat, there is no leader to lead him to the cure. Right? That's it. It's as if he cut his cord, the cord. It lost its chance, lost opportunity. As they were skinning her, as they were skinning the skin of the goat, the note fell out of her ear. The old man picked up the note and said, my son's handwriting. When he had read all that his son had written, he clapped his hand to his head and cried, Weh, who to the man who robbed himself of his own good fortune, and who to the man who requires good and evil? Who is he blaming? Himself. He's blaming himself. I hesitated. I didn't read the signs. I lost the opportunity to be redeemed, to get to the Holy Land, to get to my spiritual tzfat. He mourned over the goat many days, and he refused to be comforted, saying, who to me, for I could have gone for the land of Israel in one bound, kfitzat haderech, and now I must suffer out my days in this exile. Last chance. the opportunity is gone. The one chance he had, no more. Since that time, the mouth of the cave had been hidden from the eye, and there is no longer a short way. That's it. And that youth, if he had not died, shall bear fruit in his old age, full of sap and richness, calm and peaceful in the country of life, the Eretz HaChaim. Now, I'll end up just that story by asking you guys to think for a minute, for 10 seconds, what is the message for the reader? What is the message? Marta, what do you think? What does he tell us? What is he expressing? What is he asking us? What is he saying?
To follow the spiritual route and not to question, just to follow.
To follow, but where is it? Where is the message? That's what it is. Don't miss the sign. Look around. Are you doing mitzvot? Are you learning Torah? Where are the signs? Where would you find it? Are you taking classes? Are you doing tzedakah?
Right.
What shall I do? Are we as a nation united? What are we doing? We are here. It's just such, I told you, this story can have a whole series about it. There is so much, but I just end up by offering you to take this story to the heart, especially in what's going on today in our life, in our history, what we are facing. Henry, you have a question or an answer?
But the way I see it, he didn't appreciate the God was giving him for his
A hint.
Feeding him
The chance.
He missed the sign.
That's the sign.
Right.
That's
So
what-
maybe we should ask, are we missing the sign now?
Yeah, and it was making him, he was sick, and he made him feel better when he was bringing him that milk. So he
נכון.
didn't appreciate that.
Exactly. He cut the cord.
Yeah, he did.
I end up now with not after the story. I just want to tell you, when this humble man with his yarmulke, with his kippah, and you saw how he looks, so not arrogant, not so like all the other Nobel Prize winners, and he's standing there in the assembly in the Queen's palace, and the Queen is there, and the dignitaries, and the Swedish government, and all the world is there, and reporters and everybody, and he need to give a speech. He doesn't speak English, not talking about Swedish. He talks in Lashon HaKodesh. Humbly. And I want to end up, final ending, with an expert, how he introduced himself. And you think if you heard any other Nobel Prize winner, it's not all that. Don't worry, Rabbi. I'm just reading the introduction. Who am I? Who is he? And he says like this. As a result of the historic catastrophe of Titus of Rome, destroyer of Jerusalem, and Israel was exiled from its land, I was born in one of the cities of exile, Bochkas, right? But I always regarded myself as one who was born in Jerusalem. In a dream, in a vision of the night, I saw myself standing with my brother, the Levites, the Leviim, in the holy temple, in Beit HaMikdash. And he says it in Hebrew, singing with them the song of David, King of Israel, melodies such as no ears have heard since the day our city was destroyed and its people in exile. I suspect that the angels in charge of the shrine of music fearful that I sing in wakefulness what I have sung in dream, made me forget by day what I had sung by night. And he ends up and says, for this, the angel gave me the gift on singing, like in בית המקדש, like the song of the Levite, שירת הנביאים, שיר המעלות, in writing. So my writing is as if the Levites are singing in בית המקדש. This is how I felt when I was writing. Each word meant that much. Thank you.
Wow,
Very enlightening. Thank you.
Are his kids still alive? Are his kids still alive?
Yes,
Yes,
Emuna, yeah.
Mordechai Bat Chemdat. Yeah. Wow, beautiful.
Emuna mainly.
Thank you so much. I will not be as poetic as she is, but I want to add, this is amazing that she speaks tonight. You know, today we're starting a new book, the book of Shmot, the book of names, also known as the book of Exodus. But technically, it's really the book of exile,
No.
right? So just a little bit about Shai Agnon and his humility. I knew him very well. I did actually a thesis about him in high school. And you know, when they called him in 1966 to receive the Nobel Peace Prize, you know, back then, there was one radio channel in Israel. That's it. And they called him from the radio channel. So
I have a recording of it, by the way.
very
It's
good. I'm
funny.
sure. So they said to him, listen, we just found out to our correspondents in Sweden that you received the Nobel Peace Prize. Huh? It's okay. They said, thank you. Nice seeing you, meeting you. Thank you. So, you know, when they called him, they recorded the message, the phone call. And they said to him, you just received the Nobel Peace Prize. And he says to him humbly, I'd rather receive an official rewards for writing one sentence in Sfat HaKodesh,
What is Sfat HaKodesh?
the holy language. You know, the Hebrew today is like maybe 50% of what it should be, maybe even 20%.
Yeah.
The old language of Hebrew is very holy language. It's the text of the Torah. Okay? And she said codes, there is many codes. For an example, in the first verse of our Torah, this week, Parasha, is Ve'ele Shemot Bnei Israel Habaim Mitzrayim. And these are the names of the people of Israel that come into Egypt. Shmot. Shmot means names. But Shmot is also an acronym. Shnai Mikra ve'echad Targum. You have to learn every day. You have to read the Torah twice, and you have to read one, let's say Rashi or the Gemara or anybody that translate the codes of the Torah or the Kabbalah, for an example. So it said Ve'ele Shemot. These are the names. You know,
Every day or once a week?
every day.
No, that's enough.
For you, we'll start once a week. Do once a week. Be'ezat Hashem. So Ve'ele Shemot, and these are their names. You know, we all have names. And thank you so much for coming. Have a wonderful night.
Bye, guys.
So, you know, when you give in a name, huh? No, עברית, שפת הקודש.
של מי שפה?
של העולם, עברית.
לא.
You know, until Tower of Babel, okay, מגדל בבל, שמעת עליו? Is the pyramid, just so you know, in Egypt. That's the Tower of Babel. Until that moment, the whole world spoke Hebrew, only Hebrew. שפת הקודש. בראשית ברא אלוהים, מה כתוב שם? עברית, It's Hebrew, right? That came 1700 years after. Okay, 1700 years. כן, עברית התורה. Until the Tower of Babel, everybody spoke Hebrew in the world. Everybody. When they built the tower, remember, they wanted to separate God from the world. They said, let us build stones, a tower, and we'll be the God. Really, we don't need God. This is really the Illuminatis, the first Illuminatis in the world, the first people that want to separate state and church, or state and Bet Knesset, state and everything separation. And you know, when they came, then God, Bavel means Bilbul. He mixed their languages, and 70 languages came down to the world. Okay?
How many?
70. It says in the Torah, if you look at book of Noah, chapter of Noah, chapter 10, verse 15. It says there all the 70 nations, France, Chinese, Aramaic, everybody appears there. 70 languages with 70 nations. That's when the world has more languages. And then everybody spread around the world. But the Hebrew always remained in Israel, and wherever our forefathers went to. When they came to Egypt, as you remember, both Yaakov, Jacob, and the king Joseph told them, do not leave the area of Goshen. You're living in the area, it's called Goshen. Goshen is part of the land of Israel in the future, and it was in the past. Goshen is the delta of Egypt. You know, the Nile comes from Lake Victoria, which is the tallest lake in the world. Lake Victoria is actually among 3 countries in Africa. Ethiopia,
it's the highest
million percent. If you don't, ask her by Google.
¿Cómo se llama Titicaca en Perú?
No, that's Titipipi. No, Titicaca is less.
Okay.
So, if you don't believe me, ask her by Google.
No, I'm going to double check.
You check. Always check. Hashem says know me, right?
Absolutely.
You know, in church you cannot check.
Okay.
In a mosque you cannot check. But in the Hebrew Jews, you have to check. Okay. So Lake Victoria pours into the whole water of the Nile, come from it all the way to Egypt. It's actually larger than the Amazon River, just so you know. A little bit more. But when it pours into Egypt, there's called the delta. The delta of Egypt is Goshen. It's really from Port Said to Alexandria of today. It's 240 kilometers square. That's the most amazing fertile land of the earth. He knows he's a green thumb guy, right? So now Yosef and Jacob told them, do not leave this area, and also do not change your name. Ele Shemot Bnei Israel. Those are your names. You know, when a father and a mother get together to have a baby, and the pregnancy comes, usually it takes 9 months, right?
Right.
Herayon, pregnancy in Hebrew is 9 months in Gematria, 271. When the baby is about to come, the parents start planning of names. You know, in the Jewish tradition, we're not allowed to give names until we do the Brit Milah, the circumcision for the boy, and the Zavat Bat, that we do the blessing of the naming of the girl on Shabbat, on the Bima. We said the father come, we bless the mother, we bless the father, and then you announce the name. כן.
אבל מותר לכם שם לפני.
בטח מותר, אבל לא לתת אותו עדיין. Exactly.
לא כל אבל שם רק
That's right, you can prepare a name.
Ready,
Yeah.
but don't
Now,
yeah.
No, but in the hospital they want the name and everything,
no,
but not Hebrew name.
Not Hebrew.
Exactly.
So
All right.
the name that you choose, just so you know, it's not your choice. There is God's involvement in the name. It's very important to choose good names. Don't ever call a woman a name of a man. She will have a hard time having babies.
Oh, wow.
Yes. The Zohar Kadosh, the Kabbalah says, choose names that come from the parasha of the birth of this baby. Let's say a baby is born today. It's Parashat Shemot. We are on Wednesday, the 4th Aliyah, right? Look in the parasha, the names that appears. Go to the Gemara, the names that speak about this parasha, and go to the Zohar and choose the best name possible. Blessed. Guaranteed.
It is guaranteed because
Guaranteed.
I'm sure it is. My daughter changed her Hebrew name to something else, and everything changed.
Everything changed.
Wow.
You know, we have many people, Baruch Hashem, we're blessed to belong to a very, very big family of Rabbanim. Rabbi Chaim Kanievsky, Zichron Tzadik Livracha, his grandson is my Chavruta. And they gave us, we talked about it before, where people that cannot have children, they have a special jam that made out of etrog. And to date, we have 8 people had baby that could not have babies for 19 years. Some for 7, some for 8, 12. But they give us what to say. And they always say the most important thing, if the name is right, good, change it first. So we change a lot of names.
Also, when
For
someone is
sickness,
dying,
yes. For sickness, you can add or you can change.
Oh, they just did it in the synagogue today.
Yes.
They changed somebody's name.
Yeah,
No, yesterday I think. Henry, where's Henry?
it's okay.
Henry. Yeah. You remember Rabbi Sapo changed the name for the lady?
This morning.
This morning?
Yeah.
No, yesterday. Rabbi Sapo
אז
was
לא
not.
Okay.
משנה מתי.
All right, all right.
אני יכול לפני תעבור לו את השאלה.
כן.
זה רק לגבי...
לא,
שאלה
תודה.
דתית או גם לא
למה היא
לכל, לכל. מי שיש,
דתית?
כן.
נותן גם
Yeah. Some like for an example, today, all right, so we continue.
Yes,
So
sorry.
the name can be changed for many reasons. That's a good question, Mr. Shemesh. Could be for somebody that needs help, somebody that needs shidduchim, somebody that needs, for an example, to be pregnant. There's many, many things. But the person that doesn't have a Jewish name, immediately you have to add a Jewish name to their name.
I don't have any Jewish name.
You have.
Never do that.
Mashallah is in the Torah. Yeah, mashallah in Persian, right?
No, but let's.
No, but
after
in
the
a
class,
sense,
we'll find
in a sense.
something for you.
So it says something, Ele Shemot Bnei Israel. You know, Ve'ele, and these are, Ve'ele in numerical code is 42. It's going to have 42 journeys to the people of Israel. Right? In one word, you know, the entire story now that's about to happen. You know, the book of Genesis we just finished is 2,440 years. The book of Genesis. It's spent from Bereshit to the end of the book of, Vayechi, where Yaakov and Yosef passes away. It's 2,440 years. Now we come into the book of what we call the slavery, really, Exodus. It's really 210 years of slavery. Out of the 210 years, there's 86 years that's very hard slavery. Labor that was very, very bad. When this whole event starts, the Torah says, the Torah says that, you know, there is a new Pharaoh that did not know Yosef.
Right.
Right?
Right.
You think?
I read it in the book.
It's the Torah, it's not me. So it says, what do you mean he doesn't know Yosef? It's like saying today in America, who's Kennedy? Right? Who? Exactly. Who?
Wait a minute.
Who's Truman?
Who's Kennedy? Is that what you
Yes,
said?
like the big names, right?
Rabbi, let's talk about the youth today.
I know. But today, the youth have zero, the most stupid youth in the earth. Today, Bemet. Yeah. Everywhere in the world, we have the stupidest youth possible in the world.
Most of them.
No,
Please, what do you say?
no disrespect.
What I'm
to the
saying,
kids.
what I'm saying today, if I ask any American kids, name the president of America, maybe 1 out of a million would know.
No.
Can you name all the presidents?
All the presidents. All the
Yes.
presidents. I can't name all.
Okay,
no.
good. Can you name our forefather, Abraham, Yitzchak, Yaakov? Right?
Right.
Yeah, right. Can you name anybody in the Torah? You ask every. Yeah, who was the mother of Moses, for an example? Do you know?
No.
Okay, who was the mother of
Mary, שמעתי.
Mary? No, Mary. No, Yocheved.
You have it. He said it. Mr.
All right, so now
But
Yocheved.
if you ask anyone who is the mother of Yoshua, Yeshu, everybody knows. But Moshe, hardly.
Yeah, so let's continue.
Sadly.
So these are the names, and then they said that, you know, there's a new Pharaoh that doesn't know Yosef, right? Who doesn't know Yosef? Without Yosef, there'll be no Egypt. Imagine, right? Joseph saved the world.
Right.
He was so smart. When he came to Egypt when he was 17 years old, he became the number one on the first day, right? Potiphar, the gay man, bought it. His wife Zulicha was chasing him,
Right.
and he was the king of his house. Then he went to jail because he wouldn't sleep with her.
Right.
Then he spent 12 years. Of course, then he became the king of Egypt, more than Pharaoh.
Pharaoh
Right?
was afraid of him.
Pharaoh was the CEO in pro tem, they call it. You know, it's just by title. But Yosef making all the decision.
Right.
He basically bought the whole world. He owned the whole money, the whole real estate, the human, you know, everything that you deal with today is Yosef. HR, stock market, distribution, Costco, Walmart, you name it. It's Joseph. You know, psychology, taxes. He was the first one to put 20% taxes on the world. That's why Trump went to 20%. It happened. Yes.
אם היה אז נובל, אז הוא היה הראשון לקבל נובל.
We don't need a Nobel to tell us we're better, you know.
Exactly.
You know what's the
Also,
word?
Henry Cake is over there and dessert is over there, guys.
Yes.
You guys
First, I want to say the word Nobel is novel, something that falls down. It's not good. It's not good. You know, the Jews received more Nobel Prize than any country in the world. Just, you know, in relationship,
Yes.
Jews, there's about 15 million. We received
Everything.
more Nobel Prize than any country in the world by relation to the size of the country.
Yes.
You understand that? On many, many, many levels. You know, it's very, you spoke of the goat, right? Goat, by the way, is very important animal. Goat has the most chutzpah in all the kosher animals. Chutzpah, you know, it's a chutzpah. The pain in the tuchus, right? You know, if you take all the kosher animals, right? You put them together. What do you call that in English? Petting zoo. Petting zoo, they get along. The kosher animal, you put them together, they're petting zoo. You go pet them. The goat is the only one that climbs on everybody. You see the goat on the cow, she goes on the right, or goes on the house. It's crazy. The Zohar Kadosh, listen, this comes from Tzfat, Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai. He says if you have a child that's very shy, that's a little bit afraid, that has no chutzpah, and you worry, feed them goat meat, or if it's a baby, give him goat milk, and give them goat cheese.
Goat cheese, yeah.
This person will change according to the goat's behavior.
Wow.
Yes. You know, if you notice, Satan has a goat, right?
All right, go
I was
ahead.
going to ask you.
Yeah,
like,
right?
But yeah, so
Yes. You know, we just passed Santa, right? Santa,
yeah.
Christmas, Christmas. What's Santa in Hebrew? Hasatan. It's the same letters. Right?
Don't go there.
Yes, yes. Did you ever? I'm going to tell you what. I'm going to tell you what. I'm going to tell you what. I'm going to give you 10 chimneys. Show me one guy goes through them.
Santa does.
All right.
He's on the diet when he comes.
Oh, listen.
Honestly, like the goat is
Yes, yes, yes.
confusing to me
Is
because the goat is
Yeah, you know, Egypt used the goat as their god, right? And Hashem says to them, go and slaughter the goat of Egypt on Pesach, meaning kill their god. It's not really their god. It's a goat, it's a kosher animal. So now, there's a king that doesn't know Joseph. The Gemara says that actually it was the same Pharaoh, but originally he supported the Hebrews. He said, well, what do you mean you want to hurt the Jews, the Hebrew? They helped us. Joseph is the king. He brought us wealth. We own the whole world. Every money in the world is here. Every jewelry, every real estate. We own everything. Why do you want to hurt Joseph? They took him out of the throne for 3 months. Then he agreed, they put him back. They said, Hava v'nitchakmalo, pen yarbe. Let us do some treats for him that we can really control them. And when immediately, where? Taxes. You know, how do you hurt a Jew? Steal his wallet.
You know what? Pay taxes.
Pay taxes. Right, in a sense, they said, well, first and foremost, what kind of statement in that? Hava v'nitchakmalo pen yarbe. Let us be, you know, a little bit of mischief with them because they're going to get, there'll be a lot of them. You know, at that point, this is really, Yosef died, he was 110 years old. He was the youngest to die. Levi was 137, the oldest to die. The names, the mishpacha, the name of the family, back then, Professor Leah said there was no last name, but actually there was. If you remember when Hashem blessed them in Mishpachat Reuveni, this is the Mishpachat Reuven, right? Hashem changed Reuven to Ha-Reuveni, Hey in the beginning, God, and Yud at the end. Every family. We didn't have names like last name today, but we belong to a tribe. Okay, all of us belong to a certain tribe. All of us. Today, there's only 2 tribes left. That's it. The 10 tribes that disappeared, it was really, you know, when there was a king named Yeravam. Yeravam was very smart, one of the smartest rabbi in the world, but he was jealous. He had jealousy of the son of King Solomon, Rechavam. Now, Rechavam was the king of Jerusalem and Yehuda and Shomron, and the other guy was all the way from the south to all the way to Lebanon. And he was so jealous that he refused to let people go to Jerusalem to the temple. He stopped them. And that results of jealousy, 10 tribes disappear from the world. Today, all of us come from 2 tribes, Yehuda and Binyamin, Judah and Benjamin.
Wow, Levi.
Levi is mixed with all the tribes. Levi comes the Kohanim, right? We have Kohanim. You're a Levi? Right. A Kohen. Both sides, right?
Yes.
Father and
mother. Yeah, that's right. So the Kohanim is, who was the first Kohen in the world? No.
Yitro.
Shem, the son of Noah. Melchizedek, it's Shem. He was the Kohen in Yerushalayim. Okay? When Abraham came to see him, or Yitzchak, or Yaakov, Abraham, and Isaac and Jacob, was to study in the yeshiva of Shem and Ever. Okay? Napoleon once was about to go to fight Russia. It was in Ukraine of today. It was to the city of Volozhin. You heard of Volozhin? I want you to know, 90% of the leader of Israel in the 1948, the parents and the grandparents were rabbis. Moshe Dayan, his grandfather, everybody. Ben Gurion, everybody came from the world of yeshivot. They wanted to change Nuata Askala, as we said, the Enlightenment movement. But in a sense, what they want, they came to Israel to remove religious out of Israel. That's what they did. First thing they did in Israel, they fought because they didn't want to be Jewish. They wanted to be because they don't want to be Jewish. They don't want to keep Torah.
Because of the Holocaust.
They said we want to be like the Christian, we want to be like the European. We want Israel to be like any other country. Originally, before
modern,
to be modern. No, they don't want to be Jewish. They don't want to keep Torah. For 2 years they were fighting not to put the Jewish name in the universities and in the Declaration of Israel. Originally was without Jewish. Medina Demokratit Israelit, not Yehudit, without Jewish. So here we have the yeshiva Volozhin. Come Napoleon to go fight. He sees all the yeshiva on the floor crying. He sent his generals, says, why are they crying? We haven't done anything to them yet. Huh? Yeah. So they said to him, we didn't do anything. Go find out what's going on. He goes, who's in charge? They said, the Rabbi Chaim from Volozhin. Rabbi Chaim from Volozhin was the best student of the Arizal HaKadosh. Okay? And of the Gaon from Vilna, of the Gra. So he said to him, we're not crying for you. 1400 years ago, our temple was destroyed. It's Tisha B'Av. Today we cry, we fast, we sit on the floor. We don't really, it's not you. We're not worried about you. Napoleon was so taken by this answer, he came and spoke to the rabbi. So he asked him, he said, Rabbi, I want you to know only people that respect their past will have a future. Remember that. If you respect your past, you will have a future. Why? Because you learn from your past. Then Napoleon asked him, he says, I'm going to war with Russia. Will I win? He says, absolutely not. Napoleon was so shocked. By the way, he wrote about it. It's all in Napoleon writing and his books. And the rabbi says, why are you so upset? You don't understand why you will not fight? Why you will not win? He says, of course not. He says, your military, you see all your soldiers? Does any of them belongs to you? He says, no, they're all paid soldiers. He said, people that you pay to will never fight and win. Person that fight for their land. Mother Russia, the Russian will fight you because it's their land. Your soldier fight for the next meal. They will give up right away. And that's exactly what happened. But an amazing thing happened there. Napoleon could not win. And he was so angry because he won so many wars. So he come and change and put a costume of a Russian guy, very poor, like a homeless Russian, and took one of his top lieutenants that was very tall and dressed him like this. Let's go together. We'll sneak in, see how we can win this place. So they went in. They went to a tavern. And tavern, a bar. Yeah. They went to a bar. And they hear that all the officers and all that, they go to hammam, a mikveh. They go to what we call hadbat, and they get drunk there. So they say, let's go there to hear what they say. So all the officers says, we cannot hold more than a week. If Napoleon, he dressed like a homeless guy, and his officer like a homeless guy, and he sits with all the officers there. And he hears them say, if Napoleon fight us for another week, we would lose. We don't have enough people, weapon, look at the military. So one of the guys look at him and he says to everybody, this is Napoleon. He has just a towel on him and this guy sitting next to him. And this Russian guy says, I know, I've seen him. This is Napoleon. So the tall guy that was sitting next to him, he says, do me a favor, go get me a beer. He says to Napoleon, in front of everybody, go get me a beer. Napoleon looks at him like this. Okay, I'll go get a beer. He gets a beer, bring him a nice big jug of glass of beer. The guy stands up, smack Napoleon in the face so hard. He says, what is wrong with you? I said, bring me a jug of beer, not a little cup. Everybody looks at him. So the guy that says Napoleon, his friend says, are you crazy? If it was Napoleon, we'll kill him by now. But in really, he saved him. And when they came out, this tall guy said to Napoleon, let me go first. I'm taller. Napoleon says, no. No, he says, I'm bigger. Napoleon says, no, you're taller, I'm bigger.
Exactly.
Okay, sometimes the name carries a lot of power. Your name is what's the problem that had with the Hebrew people. The Hebrew people left Goshen and actually changed their names. Now come a Pharaoh that doesn't know Yosef. What do I mean doesn't know Yosef? I know Yosef, right? Now what doesn't know Yosef? How many of you, how many of you take off your kippah when you go outside? Right?
Most.
How many of you don't look Jewish when you're in the street? I always have my kippah on. And when I go, let's say on Shabbat, I get more Shabbat Shalom than I ever get in my life. I just walk to shul. Before we used to live in La Jolla. La Jolla has 1.5 million visitors every summer. So we just walk to shul. I get more Shabbat Shalom from more people that I ever met in my life.
For the kippah.
Because of the kippah. Now the people of Israel, they're Jewish. Most of them are Jewish. I grab some of them with me to shul because we have free lunch, so some of them come. But in a sense, Yosef was religious. The people of Israel were religious. They were in Goshen. They never left their area. That was the biggest shtetl in the history of the world. Goshen. They left and they looked like anybody other Egyptian. They look like Egyptian. There's a song, walk like an Egyptian, right? It says that they actually came out and now Pharaoh doesn't know who's Hebrew and who's not. Asher lo yada et Yosef. He didn't know, he couldn't recognize and differentiate between them. Who's Hebrew and who's not. Like today you see Hasidim, right? They look like beautiful penguins, they have everything. They're Jewish, right? My wife told me, stop wearing black and white. What are you, a penguin? But anyway, in a sense, your identity is who you are by name. Ele Shemot b'nei Israel. Keep your name. Don't call your son Steve or Rex. He's not a dog. Don't call him, I don't know, whatever. Right? Give him a Hebrew name that carries power. The name is the most important thing. When you say, in America, there's a lot of Ferguson. You heard Ferguson?
Yes.
You heard about?
Ferguson.
Ferguson, right? You know where this name came from?
No.
So, after the First World War and the beginning of the Second, many Jews left Europe, came to America. So they went to Ellis Island, and the guy says, what's your name? They didn't want to give the Jewish name. So I forgot. They wrote Ferguson. Yes. Now, many people change their names. Like she said, for an example, they pick a lot of name that's, is the new Hebrew. Right? Today, for an example, we have Hebrew names that Elohim Ishmo. Right? I have a nephew, Peleg. I'm like, what Peleg? Peleg means something that's, not good. That's Chaz v'chalila mefutzal. Right? That's right. Pilu.
No, but it's a negative.
That's not a good name. I have a cousin. Peleg.
What does it mean?
Peleg means that separation. That's separate. Like the people that built the tower, the Babel Tower, they want separation from God. It's not a good name.
It's not.
Then I have one of my cousins named Regev. Regev means piece of dirt. So we took him, we changed his name. With Rabbi Chaim, he could not have kids. We changed his name, he has 6 kids now.
Wow. What the best name is in Hebrew?
Huh? The best name is Hebrew, or whatever you choose.
No, I think Yosef.
Every name is good. My wife says, my wife says Yoram. You know what's Yoram in Hebrew? So it's the son of King David, Yoram. Yo, Yud, Vav, Ram. Elevate the name of God. Shemesh. What Shemesh? Ah, good. You need to do. That's right. He's, our shamash. He's the shamash of the Kollel. He take care of everything without me knowing. He can't bring things. This amazing shamash. Yes. He's like a gabbai, Right? Let's continue. Just give us a few more minutes, as we say in English. 10, it will be like 20. We negotiate. No, but I want to tell you something amazing. This parasha is a very amazing parasha. This is really the introduction of Moses. Moshe Rabbeinu, his mother could not have, she was pregnant. They gave him, by the way, his mother Yocheved, when the slavery began, is when Miriam was born. Miriam was born. Immediately, that's when the slavery began, the 210 years of slavery. She became 3 years old, and then they start throwing the babies into the Nile, right? Miriam sees that. Her father leaves her mother. Yocheved, Amram leaves Yocheved. He's the head rabbi of Israel in Egypt. He leaves his wife, said, what do I need? The Holocaust, bring babies to be thrown into the river. What do I need that? The entire Hebrew parents, husband left their wives. Imagine that the head rabbi get divorced, everybody follow. They get divorced. Miriam is 3 years old. She became a prophet when she's 3 years old. She comes to her father. She says to him, you're worse than Pharaoh.
Right.
Did you imagine saying that to your father? Don't you ever? What she said to him, she says something amazing. She says, listen, Pharaoh kills all the boys. You kill boys and girls.
Right.
And he immediately returned to marry Yocheved. Yocheved is 130 years old. She gives birth to Moshe. Primi, 6 months. He was born when? 7 of Adar. Okay, the 7th of Adar, which is basically the 6 months. Right? And she gives birth. He was Primi, 6 months. She raised him for 3 months. She cannot hide him anymore. Right? She said, she cannot hide him. She take him, put him in the ark, the Teva, right? And she put him where? In the Nile. She said Miriam and Aharon. Miriam and Aharon put him in the Nile, right? They say if you want to, hide anything, hide it in plain sight, because the last place they'll look. People kill babies in the Nile. Who would look for a baby in the Nile? Right? So we have 3 advisors to Pharaoh. One of them is Bilam, which is the grandson of Lavan. One of them is Eov, Job. And one of them is Jethro. By the way, Bilam was the one that says, let's throw them into the Nile. Eov says, let's burn them. He threw her that, he left. He said, I don't want to be part of this Holocaust. Immediately he was rewarded being the Kohen of Midian, being the high priest of Midian, of the Midianites. The Nile, Moshe is put in. It's exactly the 6th of Sivan. This is the same day Batya found him, the daughter of Pharaoh, Batya. Her name was not originally Batya.
Right.
It's Tarmit. That was her name. But because she left her her father, because he was so evil, wanted to kill all babies, she said, I don't want this kind. I'm going to become Hebrew. She went into the mikveh, into the Nile, and she see an ark, and she saved the baby, and she called him Moshe. Moshe is not his first name. Moshe has 10 names. The first name was Tuvia. The second name, Yekutiel. That was his real name originally.
Who gave him that?
His mother and father. Yes. His mother called him Tovia, because he was born circumcised, and Baruch Hashem. And his father called him, Yekutiel. There's many people that are born circumcised. Adam, for an example.
How do you know?
Hanoch.
He told me.
He showed us, you weren't there.
I believe it. I did it.
That's what Yosef showed his brothers when they don't believe him.
Okay.
Yeah. So Adam was born circumcised. Hanoch was Shem, Shet, Noach, Moshe, Yosef, and Yaakov. Just to name a few, and Adon Shemesh.
Moshe's name?
Huh?
Is it all Moshe's name?
Yeah, no. Moshe has many names. 10 names. But now, Batya, the daughter of Pharaoh, she says, Ki min hamayim meshituhu. I took him out of the water. What she became also a prophet. She saw that Moshe would take the people of Israel out of Egypt through the Sea of Reeds. Red Sea is a mistake. There's no such thing. The Red Sea is from the New Testament. There's no red in the Sea of Reeds. Reeds, right? Right? For example, in the New Testament, they're saying that Mary was the mother of Jesus, right?
Yeah.
And they say, who's Mary? The mother of Moses. Mary is different Mary. Miriam was the sister, right? Nothing to do with Moses, nothing. It's like 790 years after. But in a sense, she gave him a name and God uses her name, Moses. Why Moshe? Moshe backwards is Hashem, right? And Batya, the daughter of Pharaoh, the daughter of Hashem now, she took him out of the Teva, same letter. Batya and Teva is the same, right? And now she raises him. She cannot raise him. They bring Yocheved and Miriam. Miriam says, I can bring your mother. She raises him for 3 years. And then they bring him to the palace. And he sits, Pharaoh holds him like this. What a cute toddler, the beautiful, is like my grandson, his adopted grandson. Moshe grabs his crown and took it and put it on his head. 3 years old, Moshe Rabbeinu. Now all the advisor of Pharaoh says, listen, you need to kill this one. This one is the one that we talked to you about. He will take you down. Right. So Yitro says, no. What are you crazy? He's a baby, 3 years old. What do you mean? He says, what do you mean? To be an advisor to Pharaoh, you have to be the top of the top of the top. And you have to be so good because he kills all the advisors that give him bad advice. Right. So Yitro and Job and Bilam were the best of the best of the best. So Pharaoh says, what do you suggest? He says, how about we do this? Let's take a gold coin and let's take gachele, a charcoal that has fire on it. Put it on the same plate and let's see what he grabs. If he grabs the gold, okay, he has knowledge, you should kill him. But if he grabs the fire, it's just a kid, he doesn't know. It's like, look, sparkling, beautiful. Moshe actually reaches the hand to the gold, come the angel Gabriel, move his hand to the fire, and he goes like this, he burns his lips. That's why he was stuttering, right? He says, why they had to do the lips? So Moshe Rabbeinu actually tells in the Midrash that when they brought him as a baby, 9 months, Batya tried to have somebody to give him nursing, to give him milk. And a little bit of milk got on his lip, he has to clean it with fire, like you do in Pesach, you clean your chametz with fire, right? And some with water. Pharaoh grows up. When he's 40 years old, he goes out to see his brothers. Right? He said, he goes out. Remember, he's a prince now. He was 3 years old. He was found when he was 9. Let's say a year. When Batya find him, he said, I see the boy. He's very good, but I hear the na'ar boche. I hear the boy, young man, crying. Is it a boy or a young man? What is she saying? Moshe is crying. No. The na'ar is Aharon, his brother, standing on the side, watching him. He's crying because now their brother, the young one, has been taken away. But Miriam is now worried. Miriam says, he will save us. This is because of her, Moshe was born. Miriam, the name Miriam, has 2 letters in Hebrew that open and close, mem and mem, right? In Gematria is 80, 40 and 40. And in the middle, she has Resh and Yud, which is 210, the slavery. She knew all of it with the name that her mother gave her. Okay? And she saved Moshe, and she saved the people of Israel. Because of her, water will be blessed for them for 40 years, right? The well of Miriam. Right? Because of Aaron, we'll have what we call the clouds of glory. And because of Moses, we will have the manna that come for 40 years. Now, Moshe is coming out and he sees an Egyptian man hitting a Hebrew name. A Hebrew person. How do you know? Because they're dressed differently. Every Egyptian, so-called, in today, for an example, you have a platoon, right? You have one commander, right? Oh, I'm sorry, not a platoon, a division. You have one commander that's in charge. And a certain amount of, in that days, there were 10 other police officers. They were all Hebrews. The police officer were Hebrew, but the commander was Egyptian. And this commander, dressed like an Egyptian soldier, hating this Hebrew. The Hebrew couple were people that actually for each one of them had 10 families that they brought to be slaves. Now this guy, the Egyptian hating, this Hebrew. Moshe looks around, the Torah says that he looks this way and this way, not in a physical way. Moshe sees spiritual. He sees through all generation of this Egyptian, from the beginning to the end, there's nobody good in him. And he kills him and buries him. He kills him by words, not hating him. He knew the name of God. Shem Hashem HaMeforash. There's many tzaddikim that can create things just by words. Even today, the Baba Sali, for an example. I'll give you an example because one of his grandson is my teacher. And he knows a lot of stories about it. But everybody knows the stories. For an example, he wanted to go, he used to live in Netivot, in the south, to go to Yerushalayim. No gas in the car. He says to his drivers, just go, don't worry, you don't have to gas up. They go to Yerushalayim and back without gasoline. He just says words of God, and that's it.
It happened to us when he drove to Canada.
No.
Literally, it shows
We were just
zero
lucky.
gas. Now we
We
drive
were
in.
lucky.
Where's the gas station?
Baruch Hashem.
We got in.
Hashem gave you a miracle.
But we got a miracle.
Many. So now he goes and he buries. Now he sees the next day comes out. Usually if you murder somebody, you don't come out the next day, right? You go hide, so let the things relax. Like, a heist, right? When you do a heist, until the media is done, and you say, no, you don't buy yourself a new car, a new jacket. Wait. Moshe comes out the next day. Why? Because he sees badness. He sees a guy hitting a guy that didn't do anything to him. And he asks, why is he killing him? So now he comes and he sees this guy that he saw before fighting another Hebrew. Those are the two wicked, the people, the Torah calls them, Datan and Aviram. Datan and Aviram fighting. And Moshe says to the Torah says, the wicked ones. How do you know he's the wicked one of the two? It's very hard to know who's wicked unless you talk to them, you discuss, you ask, right? That's why you're not allowed to judge anybody. Don't judge a book by its cover. I won't tell you, your book is fantastic. Bubbles. So Moshe Rabbeinu has Ruach HaKodesh. Moshe Rabbeinu have what we call a very high elevated spirit that God, really is with him all the time. And he says to the wicked guy, what's it? Okay. Oh, the Holy Spirit. Yes, not the Holy Spirit, the Holy Spirit.
No, like the spiritual.
Yes, very spiritual. He sees things we don't see. Most rabbis, the big rabbis that Mekubalim, they don't, when you come to talk to them to ask a blessing, they never ever look you in the eyes. They always look here in your forehead. Because all of us have letters in the forehead, Hebrew letters, and they know what's missing and how to fix it. This guy came to a very big rabbi, and the rabbi looks at him. He says, please, Rabbi, I need help. The rabbi looks at him. Are you listening? Elisheva. This guy.
He's looking at his friend.
I'm looking in Marciano's forehead to see what's missing.
So this guy, listen. Okay. No, but those rabbis, they see something else, right? They see what needs to be fixed in you. So this guy went to a big rabbi and said, Rabbi, I need help with this and this and that. The rabbi looks at him, nothing. He says, please, Rabbi. He said, I don't see any letters. Oh, I just had 4 Botox.
Oh, jeez.
No, but in a sense, what they do, they look and they know how to really bless you correctly. But they will always tell you, I'm going to ask Hashem to help you, not me. You never ever, if somebody says, give me 5,000, I'll bless you, run away. If somebody says for free, I'll bless you, no, say Hashem will bless you, I will ask for you. They can't do it. It says that you have to go to God first. Before you go to any rabbi, any doctor, anybody, Go to the rabbi, right? So we see something amazing. Moshe says to the guy,
Go to God.
yes, go to God before you go to the rabbi or the doctor or the mechanic. Okay. So it says something amazing. It says that Moshe knew that he was wicked.
Moshe
So-
knew he was wicked?
Yes, he saw that this guy, Datan, was wicked. One of the guys that are fighting, the Hebrews. Datan.
Oh, okay.
Datan. Dahan, you know what Dahan stands for? Derech Hashem Nelech.
Rabbi,
So-
was it two Hebrews that were fighting?
Yes,
each
Datan.
other?
That's right, Datan and Aviram. There were two couples, police that has no God. Let's put it this way. Now, what happened here? Why this Egyptian Moshe kills, and the wicked guy says to Moshe, "Are you coming to kill me like you killed him by words?" Immediately, as it says that, Pharaoh wants to kill Moshe. Pharaoh immediately bring Moshe and kill. First and foremost, this is your grandson, so to speak, your prince, your leader. Don't you want to ask him some question, investigate what happened? Just want to kill him right away. Pharaoh understood Moshe can kill him now in words. He was terrified. Now, what happened here? Why the Egyptian was trying to kill this guy? Datan had a wonderful, beautiful wife named Shlomit Badivri. Okay? Shlomit Badivri in acronym means dvash, honey. She was sweet to everybody, talks to everybody, hi, talks to the Egyptian. She was so beautiful that the Egyptian really fell in love with her, wanted to kill her husband, and actually raped her. So Moshe says, you want to kill him and take her too? Ratzachta v'gam yarashta? This is where it comes from. So now, Datan says, you're going to kill me? Moshe now has to run away. He leaves Egypt, he's 40 years old, goes to where? Yitro. He goes to the bar, the be'er, the water well, same letters, bar, be'er. He goes and he meets up 7 ladies there, Tzipporah and her sister. Now he helps them, gives them water. Huh? He came actually, he's about to fight many of the shepherds that did not want to give them water. Moshe is all about doing the right thing throughout history, even at his own expense. He would not come to the land of Israel because he did care about the people of Israel. He comes Tzipporah to her father Yitro. This now, the Torah says his name is Reuel. He had 7 names. Because he left, didn't want to participate in the Holocaust, he was blessed to be a high priest. And Tzipporah introduces Moshe. Says, this is an Egyptian man. He saved us. Now, technically, Moshe and Bilam, they know each other for like 40 years now. Moshe never corrects her.
That's one of his mistakes.
That's one of his sins. Because he did not say, I'm Hebrew, to her, to Tzipporah. Her father knows. He knows Moshe. You were the prince. I was the advisor to Pharaoh. You are here. I know you. You're Moshe. Okay, so you change your outfit, but you're Moshe. Right? But he never corrects Tzipporah, meaning he has lost of emunah. Now, when Yitro left Egypt, he stole with him something. Adam Arishon, God on what we call Ben Hashmashot, after God created everything, right between Friday night and the Shabbat, he created 10 more things. One of them was the staff that had his name on it, God's name, Shema Meforash, and the acronym of the 10 plagues. Yitro stole it. He went from Adam to Hanoch, to Shet, to Noach, to Shem, to Abraham, Yitzchak, Yaakov, Yosef, Pharaoh. After Yosef died, Pharaoh took it. Yitro stole it. And he came to his Midianite, his country, and he put it on the ground when he put his tent. He comes to take it out, doesn't come out. So he says to all the Midianites, whoever take it out can marry one of my daughters. Hundreds of thousands of people come every day trying to take it out, nothing. Moshe Rabbeinu just arrived to his house, and he makes him a deal. He says to him, listen, you can marry my daughter, but only if you take the staff out. Moshe Rabbeinu looks at it, read the name of the God, and take it out. He said, you deserve my best daughter. Tzipporah and Moshe. Tzipporah le Moshe, the shidduch, is exactly the same numerical. 375. Tzipora, Le Moshe is 375 in the numerical code. They're the perfect match. Now he marries Tzipora, but then Yitro says to him, listen, we're going to have a deal. Your first son is for me, not for you. You cannot circumcise him. It's for me. Gershom is Gershom. Will be his name Gershom. A guy that doesn't circumcise, and he'll be like Midianite. The second, and then whatever you can. Eliezer, yes, he's circumcised. Now, Moshe is a shepherd, right? The best job of the Hebrew is always a shepherd. There's plenty of time. You can learn Torah. Nobody bothers you. You take care of the cattle. One lamb, beautiful. Mary had a little lamb. Even Moses has a little lamb. This lamb takes off, and he goes to a mountain. Moshe Rabbeinu leaves, and he cares for one lamb. Baby goes all the way up, take him, carries him, give him water. Hashem sees that. That moment, God does a miracle, the burning bush prophecy. You heard of the burning bush? What's the burning bush? The burning bush is actually a bush that's green among the thorn. The fire is very big fire. It's not a simple fire, godly fire. Burns and it doesn't consume. Still remain green. Really, in a sense, the prophecy of the burning bush is the people of Israel and the people of the world that believe in God. God loves everybody. It doesn't matter if you're Jewish, Christian, whatever you are. God loves you if you're godly. Ashrei ha'ish asher Adonai Elokav. Ashrei hagoy asher Hashem. God says you are blessed if you believe in me. This is what God says. For an example, Moshe Rabbeinu sees that. He says, something is weird here. You know, he has the lamb on him. He sees fire. He says, what is going on here? This is burning and it doesn't consume. Usually, look what happened in Hawaii, right? In a few hours, the whole city is gone in Maui. Right? In a couple hours. Gone completely. See what happened in October, Simchat Torah 7. They burned villages of village. 22 villages that came in. 2 of them keep Shabbat, nothing happened. 0. They couldn't even get in. The other 20 all suffered. Moshe sees this burning, is questioning. You know, good leaders always question things. That's why you have to ask. Hashem says, ask. Know me. Don't believe. Know me first. If you know me well, you believe automatically. Right? Moshe is asking, what is going on? He looks around, and then God says to him, I am the God. Moshe was terrified. All of a sudden he hears the voice of God. God actually spoke in the voice of his father. The Zohar says he spoke in the voice of Amram. So it's familiar to him, not to scare him completely. And he talks to him now, says, I want you to be the one to take my children home back from Egypt. Moshe refuses. For 7 days, he says, no. First day, he says, take my father. He said, no, your father passed away already. Remember, he's outside of Egypt for 40 years now. He's 80 years old almost. He says, take my brother, Aaron. He's older than me. He goes, no. Aaron, because you refuse second time, he will be the Kohen, the high priest. You will be the Levite. Moshe originally was supposed to be a high priest too, not just the leader. Supposed to be the king and the high priest, Kohen Gadol. But because he refused second time, the third time he says, I cannot speak. I stutter. So he said, okay, Aaron will speak for you. On and on for 7 days. Negotiation. It was so humble. The humility of Moshe, like Shai Agnon, you know, when somebody says you won the Nobel Peace Prize, picture. I said, I wish I got Nobel for writing Torah, not for anything else. It's really the humility of Moshe. It was so humble. He said, I cannot, it's not me. I don't, I'm just a Hebrew. I don't speak well. I stutter. What do you want me to speak to a king that, I don't know. So Hashem gave him 3 signs. Hashem says to him, listen, you see the staff in your hand? He had the staff. Hold it. He said, throw it on the ground. Becomes a snake. Moshe is terrified. Hashem said, don't be afraid. Pick it up from the tail. The moment Moshe touches it, it becomes a staff again. And then, one of the reasons Moshe says, I don't want to go, he says, the people of Israel will not believe me. It's speaking ill of a person. Lashon hara. You heard of Lashon hara?
Yeah.
When you speak bad about a person. You know who was the first Lashon hara in the world? Who? The snake. The snake spoke ill of Hashem. That's why he got the punishment to not walk again. Everything that he eats tastes like dirt, and his skin comes off all the time, and his tongue is split.
Oh my God.
Yes. You know, snake is the only animal that could kill you, cure you. The only animal in the world. The venom, you can make the antidote from the venom. Right? It can bite you. You have to catch the snake that bites you, so they know how to treat you right away. Today we have medicine. But in the old days, you had to take this and make medicine out of it right away. You know how long it takes for a snake to have a baby? The Gemara says there was one Roman guy. You know, the Roman always believed that the smartest in the Jews or the Greeks, they're like, oh, we are the smartest. So they asked the head rabbi of Israel, you know how long a snake have a baby? This guy in front, you know, they have the court, right? In the court of the king, everybody challenged, you know, the Rabbi Akiva and all the rabbis. Now this guy took a male and a female snake and watched them for 7 years. It takes 7 years to have a baby.
Wow.
That's part of the snake curse. You know, the snake was cursed with 10 curses. 7 years. So the rabbi says 7 years. How do you know? So it says in the Gemara, the oral Torah. Everything is in the oral Torah. If you want to know how many galaxies and what kind of medicine to use and what's the antidote for a snake or for a dog bite and how to be a doctor and how to learn astronomy, psychology, physics, anything you want to learn is the Gemara. The oral Torah is what Moshe received in Mount Sinai alongside the written Torah and the Kabbalah, the Zohar. But when he broke the Luchot, that was the first tablet in the world. It was the download from the iClouds, right? Moshe downloaded everything from the tablets, the iClouds to the tablet, right? He broke it. By the way, what's iCloud today? You know, we hide our stuff. That's when Hashem showed him everything in the iClouds, clouds of glory. This is iCloud. YouTube, Hashem already showed him how to make the menorah, everything, videos. You know, we hide all our stuff today.
עכשיו את הדבות שהיו בבית המקדש שהיו לאלה השבורים.
It's the broken and the new one. Both. You know, it's a very good question. You know, Hashem says, "Pesol lecha she'enei luchot avanim karishon." But we'll get to it a little bit. But technically, Moshe broke, right? He broke the luchot.
He saved Israel by that.
By doing that, exactly, he saved Israel. You know, they say that originally he received a cube. It wasn't like what we know today. By the way, when you see the 2 circles on the 10 Commandments, that's Christian, that's not Hebrew. It was actually square. It says shtet tfachot by shalosh tfachot. 2 shte malbenim beyachad square. Yes. So now originally it was like a cube. You had 2 amot that has one side the written Torah. The middle you had the oral Torah, and at the end you have the Kabbalah, the Zohar. When Moshe broke it, he put all of it together. It was broken. Hashem then basically gave him back just the written Torah. Not the oral, it has to be spoken, oral Torah, and the Kabbalah has to come later with Moshe's reincarnation as Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai. Okay? And then who translated it? The Arizal, which is also Moshe Rabbeinu. Until the Arizal, nobody knew how to translate the Zohar. Nobody. So it says that Moshe Rabbeinu now is coming, and we said, Hashem says, I want you to use the staff. And then he says, I want you, because you spoke ill, put your hands underneath here, your, what do you call that? Shechem in English, I know Shechem. Huh? Put your hands under your armpit. Huh? No. He took it out, it became leprosy. Why? Because he spoke ill, tzarat. Then he says to him, take water, pour it will be a blood. From here we learn something amazing. You know, this week was the memorial day of the very, very giant rabbi, the grandfather of the Baba Sali, Abir Yaakov. Abir Yaakov, he in the Rambam on the 20th, 3 days ago was their birthday, their yahrzeit, I'm sorry. He says, in Morocco, he says something amazing. You know, by the way, he knew the entire Kabbalah when he was 8 years old. The Rabbi Yaakov Abu Chatzera, the Abir, is the grandfather of the Baba Sali in Morocco.
You know where he's buried?
Big Rabbi.
Huh?
He's buried with that food. Where he's buried?
In Morocco. Yes, tafilat, no? Ah, that's right. So he knew everything by heart. The Torah, the Gemara, and the oral Torah, and the Kabbalah when he was 8 years old. The Baba Sali knew the Torah and the Gemara when he was 7 years old, but he did a siyum. He finished to learn when he was 8. And both of them, they were amazing, amazing rabbis. So Rabbi Yaakov, the grandfather of the Baba Sali, it's called Abir Yaakov. He says something, Hashem gave 3 signs to Moses, but the signs are very telling. Sometimes when you have a staff in your hand, it's a staff. But when you let it go, it becomes a snake. Meaning that if you have something good in your hand, don't throw it. It could come back and bite you.
Don't let it go.
Don't let go when you have something good in your hand. Right? We always miss what after we let something go, we say, stupid, we made such a mistake. Right? The second thing, it says, your hand can do a lot of good, but you spoke ill. You took it from this good hand that can support, put it here, in what we call the sweaty place, it becomes leprosy. When you speak ill of somebody, when you speak ill of somebody, 3 people get immediately punished. The one that speaks, the one that listens, and the one that's spoken about. All 3 of you guaranteed punishment. When somebody in the old days had leprosy, they had to remove them from the camp of Israel. They had to be outside for a week or 2 weeks.
Leprosy is a Mitzvah.
Yes. We don't have that today. By the way, the Tanaim, after the second temple was destroyed, asked God to remove this kind of leprosy. It's not what we know today. Today, leprosy is cancer. Cancer. That's what the Rabbanim says today. Moshe Rabbeinu then take water, makes it blood. When you have good water, don't dirty it up. Because when you, chaz v'chalila, insult somebody, you take their blood and you boil it. Because if I say something chaz v'chalila to Yosef, he gets so angry, he gets so red, right? Immediately your body reacts. The blood vessels are breaking. It's like murder. Right? And when we chaz v'chalila speak ill of somebody, we don't hurt them just now. This will remain with them for eternity until they pass away. What's called malbin pnei chavero barabim ke'ilu shofech damim. So when you chaz v'chalila insult somebody, even if just the 2 of us, if him and I sitting in a room together and I insult him, rabim, many times he will think about it until he passes away. He will always remember that. It will hurt him again and again and again. And that's why you're not allowed to say anything back to anybody.
But you can do the tshuva. You can also forgive.
Yes, but he has to forgive you 100%. Some people don't forgive. Some people don't forgive.
Are you allowed not to forgive?
So technically it depends. It's very good. Please, Henry. Huh? לעליב, או חזר, לעליב, כל מיני, יש כל מיני. אף פעם, רק טוב, מפרגן. Yes, Henry.
The sign of medicine is the staff and the snake.
That's right.
Right.
That's right. They have the staff and the snake. This is medicine. Use the staff so you don't have to use the snake.
We had the question that we wanted to ask Rabbi.
Yeah.
Why, you're right, Henry.
Ken, better, please. I'll translate. So 1 second. Shachar has a question. Yeah. Better. Good. So it's a great question. It says, Lashon hara, speaking ill. Lashon is the tongue, right? And speaking ill. When you speak ill of somebody, then he says, is it equivalent to an eye for an eye? So first and foremost, just an eye for an eye is not literally eye for an eye.
Yeah.
In the Arab world, yes. For an example, in the Arab world, in Iran, if you stole something, they cut your hand off. No judgment, no, instantly, within 1 minute. Wait. Eye for an eye is not revenge to. If you hurt somebody's eye by taking your eye, that helps. If I, God forbid, yeah, I will explain. 1 second. I'm asking you so you get to the point. An eye for an eye is really, if I damaged your eye, I have to pay you damages for this eye if you cannot see. If you, let's say, for an example, use your eye for your job. So I have to pay you 5 things: for the pain, for the medicine, for your work, for your physical pain, and for your salary. I have to pay you 5 things. This is an eye for an eye. When you speak Lashon Hara, when you speak somebody ill.
What about the sight?
Huh?
What about sight?
That's what I'm saying. If the doctor can fix it, whatever it costs, you have to pay. If you cannot, you have to pay for the loss of the
Not
eye.
just eye, every damage. You
Every
cut your
damage.
hand. Or
No, everything. But when we say eye for an eye,
Compensation.
it's not a literal eye for an eye. So let's say you took my eye out. If I take yours, does it help you? It helps me? No. It's really is what the notion of how to pay damages. Okay? Everything that we do today, when you speak ill of somebody, what's Lashon in Hebrew? You rearrange the letter, and that's the codes of many, many Rabbanim. The Torah is written without vowels. If you look at the Torah scrolls, there's no vowels. Every word, you can change it. Lashon, noshel. When you speak bad of a person, immediately you lose something. Guaranteed. Your car is gone. Your engine is gone. Your hot water boiler is gone. You get sick. All kinds of things that happen to you that's above norm. Because when somebody, God forbid, all of a sudden get into an accident, that's not normal, right?
Is that
The
why you
consequences.
Huh?
It's a consequence.
It's a result of something you did.
Right.
When something bad happened to you, ask yourself, what have I done? Start looking at you. Don't look at, blame this other driver or blame this or what have I done? When something bad happened to you, just so you know, is the least amount of bad that could happen to you. God, usually, technically, we should all be dead by now, right? We all did many sins. We hurt people. We stole. Whatever. Everybody has their own story. Usually, imagine you have a 400 tons rock above your head. If you do something, let's say, that's not good, it should fall on you and you should dead, right? But God takes that and He breaks it to small, tiny rocks, and He throws at you rocks every now and then to wake you up, right? He say, here, just wake up. A little pain here. Okay, it costs you a couple $100, but ask yourself, what have I done? Why is it coming to me? Lashon Hara and eye for an eye is 2 completely worlds. When you speak Lashon Hara of somebody, you can hurt their family for eternity. Let's say, Chaz v'Chalila, I came and say something bad about your daughter. All of a sudden, she cannot marry. She lives in a small community. Everybody knows. God, even I lied. But that's it. It's out. When you say something, what's dibur? Dibur means words, ledaber, to speak. But it also becomes an object. Right? When I say, give me this bottle, it's all of a sudden, there's a real bottle, but I used words. It becomes an object. If you say something bad about you, your wife, your kids, it will happen to them. Be careful. Your neighbors, yourself. Don't ever be angry at yourself. Just ask yourself how I can be better. We lost the temple 1953 years ago. It's very hard to be Jewish today. Right? We live on belief system. We don't see God. We see God in each other. We see God in miracles. Million miracles happens around you every day. Millions.
I see God in my garden.
Of course, in everywhere. No, he's right.
I see a seed flowering, and then I see flower, and then I see
The one
fruit.
seed that has unbelievable growth, colors, paint, beautiful, everything. Life.
Yes.
To open your eyes in the morning is 144 million receptors has to work together. Imagine 144 million receptors in one eye has to work together so you can see depth, color, everything that you see to translate. Because your eyes are not here. Your eyes are here. Why we put the tefillin, totafot ben einecha, we put the tefillin up here, not here. Because this is really what translates what you see. The tefillin is here, right? Our sages said that Moshe Rabbeinu got to a place when he was so humble that only because he was so humble, he became Moshe. Hashem spoke to him face to face because he was so humble. Anav mikol adam. When Moshe Rabbeinu is about to leave, God says to him, take your shoes off, right? When he comes to the holy place, Shal na'alecha ma'araglecha. Remove your shoes. What do you mean remove your shoes? Once the Arab was arguing with me. I said, when Moses went to the mountain, God told him to take the shoes off. And came Muhammad, install them. So he said, wait, Muhammad was not even there. I said, exactly, so stop arguing. So what does it mean to take off your shoes?
But the Muslims take their shoes off in the
All the
mosque,
time. Yes.
They change it.
Yes. Have you ever went to a mosque?
Pictures with their friends.
Have you ever went to a mosque?
No.
Don't, because you need a mask. To sit behind somebody with their stinky feet, all that craziness. But anyway, so what's mask? Is to mask something, right? Something that's not real. Right? Kollel. Anyway, so Moshe Rabbeinu now, God says, take your shoes off. What do you mean take your shoes off? He says, actually, you have to leave your wife, Tzipporah. You now have to divorce. Because now you're going to be with me and you have to be pure at all times. When you speak to God, you know, Moshe cannot go to the mikveh 10 times a day. The desert, there's no immersion, water. He has to speak to God, has to be pure 100% of the time. That's really Moshe lives at Tzipporah. Not to be with her. Because when you are with your wife, even touch her, it's already beginning tumah. Yeah. Moshe Rabbeinu basically now, Hashem sent Aharon to meet him in Mount Sinai. And he takes, No, please.
So the question that I have is, Moses, he told Moses, you need to be pure, but God sanctifies marriage for us.
Of
so
course.
I'm confused why.
Don't be
Moses
confused.
wouldn't
He
be
already got
pure.
married, he already have 2 kids. He did everything that he needs to do as a man. You have to have 2 kids at least.
So why would God tell him that he has to be pure when he didn't break or violate God's law?
No, I did not. But now that you speak to God, imagine you go into the house of the king. Can you go with the jeans on, with holes? No, you come to the front of the God. You have to be at a certain level, right? Not that he already did everything. The mitzvah, he did the marriage. He had kids. One thing he did not do. He did not circumcise his first son. For that, he should have been dead by now. The law of the Jewish, if you have a son and you don't circumcise them, you have to die. Karet in the Torah.
Why he didn't circumcise?
Because he saved him. He gave him life because everybody want to kill him. He hid him. Pharaoh ruled the whole world. It's not like, he didn't rule. He could,
Okay.
There were 10 kings to the world. Pharaoh was one of them. King Solomon was one. King David, Sancherib, many kings. Alexander the Great. They ruled the whole world. But Moshe Rabbeinu now goes back and take his wife and the 2 sons and a donkey. Right? Some say it was the same donkey of Abraham Avinu. Yeah, the Zohar says.
חמורו של משיח.
נכון. What's Moshiach? HaMashiach. You heard of HaMashiach?
But the Mashiach really going to come with the donkey now?
No.
I don't know.
That's for kids. No, hey.
That's for
Rolls Royce now.
Joseph,
Those donkeys.
white airplane.
Rolls Royce.
No.
Rolls Royce,
Let's explain what's HaMashiach al Chamor. The Mashiach will be above all physicality. Chomriyut. Chamor means chomer, means physical stuff. Right? In every physical stuff, there is spiritual part. Right? Why we bless on food? Because there's spiritual part to them. Mashiach will come above nature, above the chomriyut. Okay? And he says that something amazing. He says that Moshe Rabbeinu now takes Tzipporah and her 2 sons, and they're heading towards Egypt. The angel of death wants to kill Moshe.
Mangala.
Huh?
Angel of death.
Dr. Mengele. No, not every doctor is a good doctor. Right? So something amazing. The angel of death, says, Vayavo Adonai lakachat et. Hashem send the angel of death. So you made me an angel of death, and you gave me rules. If he doesn't do Brit Milah, the Brit Milah was already given to Abraham and Yitzchak, right? It's already happened in the book of Genesis, the Rashid. And he says to him, he has to die. Hashem agreed with him. לבן שלו, גרשום, לא היה. Eliezer היה, משה עשה. Now, come the angel.
Henry, you guys want to sit here? Come closer, come. Sure?
When you're in love so much, you want to sit aside. Baruch Hashem. So now Moshe Rabbeinu is about to die. As we said before, is halacha. You have to circumcise your son. And if you don't, the Beit Din, the court has to do it. And if they don't, the head rabbi has to do it. And if they don't, the mother has to do it. And if they don't, the boy grows when he's 13. Bar mitzvah, he has to arrange for that. Through a doctor or something.
Muslim people, that's
Muslim do at 13. That's why Abraham did, for Ishmael at 13. Until today, they do it at 13. Yes. Yes. Huh?
They could start from 6, 7.
No, but they do it at 13, according to Ishmael.
You should
Okay. So now, Tzipporah takes an arrowhead. In the old days, they used to cut with arrowhead. You heard of the arrowhead? It's not an Indian thing. It's already from Tzipporah. Arrowhead is like a very sharp stone. That was like a knife. They used to use it on spears from Abraham, from Adam. It's already been established. She takes and she make a circumcision to Gershom on the spot. And she take the orla. Orla means the foreskin. Foreskin, right? It's a mitzvah to cut it. God gave us a mitzvah to be part of creation. When we are born, we're born with foreskin. And on the 8th day, we have to take it off to make us complete. This is a very godly thing to do. Orla in Hebrew means ra'ala. It's bad for the neshama, bad for the body. Many today people circumcise Christian in all kinds of countries. Why? Because it's healthy, it's godly. Now Tzipporah does that, and she took the bloody orla and she threw it on the angel of death. And she says to Moshe, you are my blood, Chatan Damim, you are my groom of blood. I saved your life. Tzipporah has 2 names in it. Sor, which is the stone, and Peh, right? Mouth. She was able to defeat Malach HaMavet, the angel of death. You want to hear a joke about the angel of death?
Yeah, of course.
Why not? So, there's a Sephardic shul. Yeah, there's a Sephardic shul, big shul. The angel of death coming in, with this big sword and it's black, and everybody runs away. Except one guy sits by the bima there, praying. The angel of death is, hello, that's me, the angel of death. The guy doesn't pay attention to him. Again, it's me. He gets on the bima in front of the Torah. It's me. Yeah, you're not afraid. Are you listening? Shut up. He says, I'm the angel of death. I'm Malach HaMavet. You're not afraid? He said, no, I married your sister already. Joke. כן. כן. מיליון, לא רק אחד, בכל אחד יש 2 מלאכים. Yes. ומלאכה וצו אחד. When you study Torah, so he asked a question. When we study Torah now, there's angels amongst us? 100%. When she spoke about Agnon, Professor Leah, she said, where are you standing today? Are you with God? Are you learning Torah? It doesn't matter if you're Jewish or not. If you are with God, you guaranteed protection. Because when you're with God, God sends his angel to protect you. It says, King David says in the book of Psalms, God will send you angel to keep you everywhere. Even if I walk in the shadow of the valley of death, I shall not be afraid, because God with me. Right? Moshe Rabbeinu now goes to Egypt to take the people of Israel out. He goes to Pharaoh that want to kill him. How Pharaoh doesn't kill him?
Was it the same Pharaoh?
Huh?
Was it the same Pharaoh that?
Yes. Now he goes to Pharaoh that held him on his lap. And he knows that he can speak and kill him, so he's terrified. This doesn't upset him. He comes to Pharaoh and says, listen, God says, let my people go. Pharaoh says, I don't know your God. He said, I don't know your God. It is Elohim. Usually people say, I don't know your God. They hear the God very fast and very, very fast. They say, don't ask where is God, because they'll come and take you to show you. Don't ask where is God. Ask where are you and how God is in your life. Right? The people ask in Simchat Torah on October 7, where was God? God was not in the party of hell. God was not in the houses that didn't want him there. But anybody that asked God to help was saved. Thousands were saved because they came to God, even they were not religious. Arabs, Christians, Jews. There were 40 countries there. So 40 countries, all of them interviewed now. All of them, they say, why were you saved and your friend died? Can you explain? You say, I don't know, but I ask God to help me. I say Shema Israel. I say I'll put tefillin on. I'll keep Shabbat. I'll do godly things. Please, God, save me. Imagine this. When you ask God, He's there for you. When you study Torah,
But how did they keep Shabbat when they were at the
people that kept Shabbat went to shul. There was a shul.
shul?
You know, there were 2 villages that kept Shabbat.
Yeah.
There's videos. The terrorists come in, cannot get in.
Into the gate.
Into the gates. There was one yeshiva Tifrach. This is an amazing story. Huh?
הקדוש ברוך הוא אמר שאני מכה אותם, הם דורכים אותי. ולא מכה אותם, שולחים אותי.
בדיוק. Always remember God when it's good for you, not when it's hurting you. Everybody needs God at the end, right? King Solomon says, Zechor et Hashem b'tzirotecha. Remember God when you're strong and young and healthy. And, you know, how many times did you do a meal for just having a good blessing from God? During your life, did you ever say, I want to do a class for Torah just to thank God for all? I have a beautiful wife, beautiful children, beautiful home. Did you ever do that? No, you wait until something bad happens. God, please help me. I need money. I need a good wife. You always go when it's problem. There's great people that go to God when it's great. You know, there was one mother of one of the 3 children that were kidnapped 10 years ago in Gaza and were killed. Now, Israel knew they were killed in the first few hours, but they had to go in and to clear and to find all the tunnels and to do everything. One mother, she said to everybody in the funeral, after 18 days when they found the box, she said, don't ask why. Ask what for. You know, why and what for is the same letters, it's just the vowel is different. One has 1 line, this way, called kamatz, and one is shva, 2 dots. They said, don't ask why, ask what for. And she said, without my son, we will never know about these tunnels. Thousands of people should have been dead by now. What they planned then happened now on Simchat Torah, just so you know. They were planning this now for 10 years. 10 years. Hashem keep postponing. But people so far from God. When you come to Egypt, we are now all in Egypt. We are not, even the people in Israel, they're still in exile. They're not in Israel. Yeah. Today, the land of Israel is ruled by crazy left people that terrorists have more right than soldiers. If you look at the news today, you see they feed the terrorists that just came and killed us.
With meat.
Huh?
With meat.
With meat. And they don't give food to the soldiers fighting.
Right.
You understand that?
They need rice,
100%. You know, baguettes. It's all baguettes.
What meals they get, the terrorists, you know.
But I want you to know something. This is all God's doing. They say when things are crazy, like today, the Mashiach is already here. Mashiach is in every generation. The Messiah in every generation exists. You know what's HaMashiach? There's some water. HaMashiach, you know HaMashiach, the Messiah, is Moshe Chai. Is the name. Moshe is alive. He was the first Messiah to take the people out of Israel, of Egypt, right? He was the Mashiach. He actually resurrected many of the dead people and came out of Egypt, right? When he was 80 years old. Then he led them into the desert for 40 years old. The sense of Moshe is all of us. The name, Shemot, the names, that's what it means. Your name carries godly abilities. Don't ever think you cannot do anything. Don't ever give up. There's no such thing. When we say, Mima'amakim keraticha Hashem, I called upon you from the deepest of the deepest. That's when God is the closest to you. Whenever you lose hope, that's actually God is the closest to you.
Look at the note in the ear of the goat.
Right? It's exactly
Don't miss
that. Don't miss that. God sends you signs all the time. You wake up in the morning, God loves you. You know how many people die every year? Every day in the world? Between 150 to 180,000 people.
Oh my God.
Every day.
Worldwide.
Imagine this for a second.
So it's a miracle every morning.
Every day you wake up. Every day you're healthy, you can breathe. Yeah. There's one guy, I know him very well. He got COVID. You heard of the fake thing called COVID? Everybody that went to the hospital, they try to kill him. Right? If you didn't go to the hospital, you were okay. Okay, you got some, whatever. You came out of it. You went to the hospital, that's it. Right? They put so many stuff in you and this and that and this and that and this and that. By the time they're done with you, that's it. You're done. One guy saved. A religious guy. And he said, how stupid I was. You know, I got the bill from the hospital. It was almost $2 million. Yeah. For a month and a half. Oxygen, everything, they billed him $11,000 for oxygen. He said, God give us oxygen for free every day. I never thanked him for that. You know, you breathe, right?
We take it for granted.
Take for granted.
Everything.
Your name is what you carry with you for eternity. Every name of ours. No matter what you are. It doesn't matter what you believe. If you believe in God, this is the godly name you carry. King Solomon, I'll finish with that. When my wife walks away, I know it's time. Shlomo HaMelech, King Solomon, says it's better to have good name than a good fortune. It's better to have good name than all the wealth in the world. And he was the richest man in the world. He owns the world. King Solomon was the richest man of the world. They said, Tov Shem Mishem, it's better to have good name than all the fortune in the world. Your name is the most important thing. Wear it proudly, use it godly, and ve'ele shemot bnei Israel. Even if you go to exile, God is with you. Don't worry. נכון, yeah. When Mashiach comes, you know, she spoke of Gilgul, Shemen HaMishcha. Yeah.
It's all the same show, same.
You know, there was King Shaul. I can stop if you want, by the way. Just raise your hand twice.
No, Natalie allow us.
You know, Shaul, King Shaul, he was actually anointed by an oil of persimmon. Okay. King David and King Solomon were anointed by oil of olive that came from the temple. King Charles was just anointed after his mother died, right? So the head rabbi of England says to him, you know, my great-grandfather, Rabbi Herzog, used to be the rabbi that was helping your mother when she was anointed. And I recommend for you to use oil from Israel. And King Charles has come, I want to show you. He took him to his lishka. He showed him 3 amazing gallons from Mount Olives in Israel for his anointment.
Yeah, by
he
the
covered his
way, I just want to add that it's not just olive oil that we put in salad. It's every olive, this pure oil is the first drop from each olive, and the rest is not part of it. So just the first drop.
The drop, it's called katit hain. Let's say you take out the olive, the first drop, that's the only thing they use for the temple. Is the holy. So imagine how many millions of olive you have to anoint a king, right?
To make it
right. So now, katit hain is very interesting. We said katit hain. There's 2 words in Hebrew. That's very weird. What's katit? Do you know? What's hain? Do you know? No. So katit is to pound. Hain, very little out of it, but it's very interesting. Katit in Gematria is 830. Katit in Gematria is 830. What's 830? First and second temple. 820. 410 and 420. 830. Hain in Gematria is 70. The 70 years between the 2 of them. Right? Together is 900. Katit Hain. Every word in the Torah has a secret in it in numbers. Every word in the Torah is a code by numbers. So Be'ezat Hashem, take the book of Torah, learn it, study it, come to the Kollel. You know, we have a study hall that you don't come every day, which you should. Please use it. If not, we're going to stay in your home and that's it.
The retirees,
Be'ezat Hashem. God bless you. Thank you. Again, if you don't mind, 1 second, let me just, please, I want to again thank the Agozi family, Baruch Hashem, Leilu Nishmat, Avicha Kadosh, Yoel Agozi ben Harav Yosef Guzi, Zichron Tzadik Livracha. We want to thank the Darwish family, Hatzlachat, to Charles and Debora in the upcoming marriage and good life, Bezrat Hashem, and to Leilu Nishmat Simcha, Salach ben Simcha, Zichron Tzadik Livracha. And most important, I want to thank the mother of the house, Elisheva. Thank you for amazing ruach, as we said. You're like Sarah Imenu. Beautiful. Yeah. Yes, sir.